Happy holidays! The month of cheer is here. So today we're going to show you how to get into and stay in the holiday spirit, no matter what's going on in your life. First, we have a cruelty-free gift idea for the fashionista on your list. Then next, a fun ski getaway to the top sustainable ski resort in Southern California. And we're going to see how I did on the slopes this year. Maybe a little better, I don't know.
I think you were better. You're still doing your greens,
yes.
But you're getting better.
Yeah, it's better than, sitting down blues and blacks.
Yes.
I think I'm going to stick to the greens for a few more years.
Caterpillar on your butt.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a safe way to get down.
It is.
You do what you got to do.
Smart.
It's smart.
And for many of us, the holidays aren't always about fun and cheer. I recently lost a parent, so I booked a session with a cosmic therapist who helped me process my grief and really regain my spiritual freedom.
It's beautiful. Well, for me, the quickest route to joy is my daily meditation practice, really for both of us. A day without that is like a different reality.
It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. You don't want it to happen.
No.
So stay tuned. We're going to give you a tour of our favorite spiritual home, the enchanting gardens of the Self-Realization Fellowship.
You're going to love it. But when all else fails, what always cheers me up this time of year?
Food.
A nice big plate of my world-famous mac and cheese, just in time for the holiday dinner.
Yum.
We have all this coming up on Conscious Living.
There's nothing like a great handbag to make a fashion statement. But most are made from leather, which is not so great for animals. Except Gunas, a line of couture handbags made from the most luxurious, eco-friendly materials. So luxurious, in fact, it's hard to believe they're vegan. To see the collection firsthand, I visited their Midtown Manhattan showroom, Extige, where I met with designer Sugandh Agrawal and her sales rep, Autumn Marie. Yeah.
And just the whole gamut of colors with the blue here, I think. A handbag is a very personal item, I think, in one's closet. You may change your clothing often. You'll definitely change your shoes very often. But a bag is something that's a lot more personal. When you look at the bag, they look very similar to other luxury brands. But when you go deeper into the brand, you'll realize that they're vegan. Just the idea of combining my love for animals and my skills as a designer kind of came to mind, and I decided to launch Gunas in 2009 in New York City. Somehow, directly or indirectly, all my collections are inspired by animals and by nature. And the fact that I'm an industrial designer, I do get inspired by architecture and product and automotives. So it's kind of a combination. It's a unique combination of the very structured versus the very organic feel of nature. When I started the line, I wanted it to have an essence of my name. So I literally sat down with pieces of paper with my name's alphabets on it, and I just started rearranging it. And suddenly I just stumbled upon Gunas. In Sanskrit, it means qualities of nature. A handbag is something that you interact with a lot. You're constantly touching it, you're holding it, you're putting it on your shoulder. The skin is the largest organ in a human being's body, and that's where you tend to absorb most of the harmful chemicals from. The leather industry uses formaldehyde, which is considered as a carcinogen. So it's a cancer-producing chemical. Gunas is really the next level up. We have researched into what kind of fabrics can be used as alternates to leather. And we make sure that they're either ASO-free or they're LEED certified or they're recycled or recyclable. Even our hardware is lead and nickel free. Again, lead and nickel is very bad for you. Having grown up in India, I was very much exposed to the harmful effects of the leather industry. I have seen, India, it's a country where cows are worshipped. And just the fact that it is also the biggest leather producer in the world, it just does not match up. High fashion is not just exotic skins. You can be fashionable, you can be noticeable in a crowd without actually wearing something that was created by harming another living being. Any individual that believes in that philosophy would find themselves comfortable wearing a Gunas bag.
Nothing makes you appreciate Mother Earth like being in the great outdoors, breathing fresh air, taking in gorgeous mountain views, and getting a fun workout are just a few of the reasons why we love to snowboard. But with rampant global warming, pollution, and environmental decimation, the amount of skiable terrain left on the planet is slowly dwindling. On this episode, we're on the road visiting one of the top eco-friendly ski resorts in the country. Surf's up, so don't go away. First, we're going to visit REI, a retailer that has spurred the greening of the entire outdoor sports industry, including skiing and snowboarding. This eco-friendly store carries everything for the environmentally conscious outdoor enthusiast, from bikes and kayaks to camping gear, hiking boots, and even clothing. To help minimize waste and make getting outdoors accessible to everyone, REI rents lots of equipment, including snowboards and boots. So we stopped by to get outfitted before our day on the slopes.
If I go like this, I can feel my toes, but standing up, it's right there.
Once we got geared up, it was time to hit the road for Southern California, Mammoth Mountain. Mammoth Mountain is a lava dome complex in southeast California's Inyo National Forest, located at the top of the Sierra Nevada mountains. With a summit topping 11,000 feet, it's home to the highest ski resorts in California. A popular destination for skiers and nature lovers alike, Mammoth has more than 3,500 acres of skiable terrain and all of the amenities you'd expect at a top ski destination. A well-orchestrated system of gondolas transport visitors from one side of the mountain to the other, offering panoramic views of the natural surroundings. But what makes Mammoth stellar compared to other resorts is its unparalleled commitment to protecting the environment that surrounds it. For starters, guests are housed in luxury eco-accommodations, like the cabins at Tamarack, designed and constructed in accordance with LEED standards. These cabins offer the utmost in modern green design with all of the comforts of a traditional mountain getaway. Throughout the resort, the Mammoth Cares program shows how outdoor recreation and environmental sustainability can truly work hand in hand. To see how, Michael stopped by the resort's Office of the Environment to meet with Lisa, who gave him a tour of Mammoth's facilities. She explained how the Mammoth Cares program is implemented throughout the property, from on-campus recycling bins and compostable utensils, green interiors like recycled wood paneling and low VOC paint and carpets, conserving energy with eco-friendly transportation like biodiesel snowmobiles and buses, and even solar-powered lifts. Most importantly, Mammoth works hard to educate guests about their relationship to the environment. After hopping on the gondola, they headed up the mountain to the top of the Sierras Museum, where he learned about the local environment firsthand. At the museum, visitors can take in the views without having to brave the elements, while enjoying an educational resource that offers historic, geographic, and environmental education about the mountain's natural ecosystem. And for those looking to make their own waves out on the mountain, nothing beats a day of snowboarding at Mammoth.
Up next, Michael deals with the darker side of the holidays with a visit to a grief therapist and a tour of his favorite meditation gardens. Don't go away.
For those of us who have had to deal with traumatic loss or abuse in our lives, often the emotions have become so familiar to us, they feel like a part of our very being, and that we will never be able to get rid of them. After the traumatic loss of my mother, I went to see Dr. Deb Sandella, psychotherapist, founder of the RIM Institute, and acclaimed author of several best-selling books, to see if she could help me shift my perspective by confronting my pain and grief head-on.
And so what I found is in the very beginning, as a traditional psychotherapist, it was really interesting because I think there's a little bit of a fear in our culture about intense feelings.
Yeah.
And so for me personally,
Yes. I know about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, in doing this work, there has been this moving through that, because I keep taking people into their intense rage and their intense feelings of wanting to kill somebody, they're so angry, or intense desperation that they will never be able to have the kind of life that they want. And we just move into it. The brain does not distinguish between real and imagined images. So that's part of what we're going to be using. It's like the body and the mind are parallel in that they're both created to be able to self-repair. The same way that when we cut ourselves, the skin can automatically heal, that we're created to be able to do that emotionally as well. And so the process is within us to be able to let go of memory and be able to change memory. We're just now learning how to use that process. So that we will, in this process, be going into that unconscious level to see what is the image. So we'll be working at the image level of what is there, and we'll be able to edit it or change it or delete it in whatever ways that your unconscious and your conscious mind figure out will be most helpful to you, and then save it. It's like a computer. So it's important for your intellectual mind to know that, so that we want you to absolutely receive the process at the intellectual level as well as the unconscious level. We want both going on. Let's just take a deep cleansing breath, breathing in through the nose.
Dr. Deb guided me through her RIM method, which stands for Regenerating Images in Memory, by helping me to enter a deep meditative state where my subconscious mind was able to viscerally identify, embrace,
Just let it come,
and finally resolve painful memories.
Sure. What I feel now is just the beginning.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, it's an awakening. It is a kind of awakening. And so from here on, it's like more and more of your energy is available to be in the present moment. And that whatever the intellectual mind or the unconscious mind throws at us, we embrace in the process. So that what's different with psychotherapy, there is a very strong intellectual component that you're really working with the thought of things. You're really looking at thinking and talking about. Where in this, we're actually moving you into a new experience so that it is experienced as being real, since the brain cannot distinguish between a real experience and an imagined experience. Like we found that in research, that it's the same. It's received in the brain as the same. So we create new inner movies that serve you better than the old ones, and we just kind of rewind and record over the old ones. But whatever the unconscious or the intellectual mind brings, like there were times, several times, that your intellectual mind kicked in with saying, well, I'm not sure I can believe this. Then we brought in the unconscious to say, okay, what does that part of you look like? The part that is questioning whether it's believable or not. And then it brought in another very important piece into the work you were doing. So anytime that we create resistance, that's things that get stuck. It's, resistance is pushing against. So when we push against our thoughts and our feelings, it stops that flow, and you get a congestion in the body and in the emotions, both. So in this method, it's really complete allowing and trusting that whatever is there, whether it's a memory or it's a thought or a feeling, that it's welcome and that it is just that. It has no more power than that.
Right. A couple images were could be traumatic, could be
Right.
viewed by some authority figure to be taboo, or you don't want to entertain that or even acknowledge it. But as you mentioned, whatever you resist persists, and so the ability to go into that feeling and really get to the core of it, and then create a different experience, which now my experience of that thing is totally different.
Yes.
And my feeling of it is totally different.
Yes. What is your physical experience right now of all of your life? I mean, how does it physically feel different?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I feel stronger in my core. So my ability to sit upright and to be, I feel more grounded, and again, I feel that there's more of me, so it gives me a feeling of being more solid and having more substance than I felt coming into it. So I feel more able to be here. If that
Good.
makes sense.
Yes, absolutely, it makes sense. You're in your body. You're fully present in your body now. So when we're in our head or our mind thinking fearful thoughts, or being, afraid of the past or the future, whatever it is, we're not fully anchored all the way into our body. We're not anchored in the heart or anchored in the gut. We're not there. We're absent. We're just all here in our little brain, our little mind. And so that you've reclaimed your whole body. Better go, huh?
Yes. Since I went vegan, I have been on a search for mac and cheese. I've been through a lot of boxes. I've been through a lot of, this is the best mac and cheese ever. And frankly, none of them were very good. But a couple of years ago, I stumbled upon this recipe, and it is the real deal. For someone who grew up worshiping Kraft macaroni and cheese, you will love this recipe. And I've got an awesome gluten-free pasta to go with it. It's outstanding, no tummy aches, no dairy, no all of that fun stuff. Vegan, gluten-free, slamming. Let's get started. So first thing we got our pasta water. It's heavily salted, and we're going to add our organic brown rice pasta. I'm using fusilli pasta. Okay, so we're going to give this and let this roll for about 7 to 10 minutes, as it says on the package. Okay, so we'll give it some breathing room. That's key with pasta. It's got to have plenty of room to operate. Okay, and then for our second boiling water, this is really the key to the success of the recipe, and it's sort of a mirepoix, okay, or mirepoix. I'm not sure which. I think it's mirepoix. Bianca would know that. Anyway, so what we have is we have a combination of celery, carrots, and onions, and we're going to add to that some white potatoes. Okay, and this is going to be the base of our sauce, which we're going to go ahead and make in our blender. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take, we got about 1 3/4 cups of potatoes. We're going to drop that into the pot here, and we're going to add our celery and carrots and our onions. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and let those cook till tender. Okay, so you're looking at maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. Okay, so we've got that going. We've got our pasta going. We want to make sure that the pasta doesn't stick together, so we got to be mindful of our brown rice gluten-free pasta. Okay. Then we're going to start on our food and our ingredients for the blender. Okay, so when this is done, this goes into the blender, and this is going to be the cheese sauce. Okay, now I like this recipe because it's pretty quick. Again, you know me, I like to get in and out. And what we're going to do is we just add our noodles. Now, some people put this in the oven when they're done with it. You don't need to. I don't like it. I just like it straight with the sauce. My mouth is already watering. Let's go ahead and do this already. Come on. Okay, so the first thing we got is we've got about 3/4 of a cup of coconut milk. Again, I like the organic out of the can with no BPA, and that's going to be probably your best bet as far as the thickness. I think I had this in the fridge. I'm going to add some nutritional yeast. Those who've seen the show before, you know nutritional yeast is a great vegan cheese pick-me-up, and it's a great source of vitamin B12, which we like as vegans, okay? And then we've got 3/4 of a cup of raw cashews. Okay, that's going to go right in there. And in our spice blend, I have approximately a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of salt. I've got some garlic powder. Got some garlic powder in there, and then I've also got some cayenne. Okay, so we're going to add a little pick-me-up to that. But that'll come together real nice. And so we're just going to drop in our spice blend. And last but not least, we've got our about 3/4 of 1 3/4, maybe 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now don't use the juice out of the bottle or whatever. No good. You got to do fresh lemon juice, ideally organic lemons, okay? Okay, our pasta's ready. So I'm going to dump this into our strainer over here. Now our veggies are just about done, and so what we're going to do is we're going to use a slotted spoon, and we're just going to begin to add the veggies to our blender sauce. I'll call it our cheese sauce that's in the blender. Okay. Just going to add that slowly. And then to this, and this is so interesting, but it'll make sense once it comes together. It's the potatoes that give it that creaminess and that richness and that thickness that sort of mocks the melted cheese. And then the different, obviously, flavor profiles is what flips it up and makes you think, oh my gosh, this is a great mac and cheese. Okay? So we're almost done here. Okay, good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to the pot. First, I'm going to give this a little whirl around, and then once we do that, we're going to add some of the water, about a cup or a cup and a quarter, to this blender mix. Okay, so I want to keep my hand on here because it is hot, and it might decide to. Well, let's just say we'll keep it here. Okay, just get it started. Okay, so now we're just going to put our pasta back in our bowl. Okay. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our sauce, about a cup and a half of the water to our sauce. Okay? Start with that much. Give it a little blend. Nice. Look at how thick and creamy that is. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to add this to the pasta. Beautiful, thick and creamy cheese sauce. Take my gloves off, my official cooking gloves, or I could play baseball, or I could be a grip on set. What do you need? I got it all here, folks. And then I'm just going to add this to my dish. Beautiful, look at that. Delicioso. Beautiful. Okay, let's try it, shall we? For me, this is holiday eating. It's really eating every time, right? Is there a better comfort food than mac and cheese? That is so good, delicious, so satisfying. I'll tell you what's more satisfying, meditation. Up next, we're going to take you to my favorite meditation gardens in the whole wide world. Don't go away.
People from all over the world descend on the Self-Realization Fellowship Lake Shrine to commune with nature and the divine. Located in Los Angeles, California, just off Sunset Boulevard, the Lake Shrine was dedicated in 1950 on a 10-acre site. With lush gardens surrounding a natural, spring-fed lake, the shrine is home to a variety of flora and fauna, including swans and trees and flowers from around the world. Widely revered as the father of yoga in the West, and author of the acclaimed bestseller, Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda taught the underlying unity of all true religions. Today, the Self-Realization Fellowship has grown to include more than 500 temples and centers around the world, with members in over 175 countries. Just down the road north of San Diego is the Encinitas Hermitage. Founded in 1937, the Hermitage was designed to be a retreat for Yogananda from the demands of his growing organization. Today, nearly 80 years later, the meditation gardens overlooking the Pacific Ocean continue to provide an oasis of tranquility and introspection for truth-seeking souls.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Nice.
Woo. Wow. Nice work,
10
guys.
minutes to spare.
10 minutes to spare, yeah.